Hello there everybody, I'm Darryl Griffiths from Movie Marker. I hope you've all been very well. I appreciate it has been a while since I put a video review out for you guys. I think it was the middle of June with Wonder Woman, which was my last one. So I hope you've all had a great summer and been appreciating the various blockbusters that have graced a multiplex in the last couple of months. Today I'll be talking about the new film from Darren Aronofsky, who's provided us with the likes of Black Swan, The Wrestler, The Fountain and Requiem for a Dream over the years, just to name a few. And it's called Mother. It stars Jennifer Lawrence, Ed Harris, Michelle Pfeiffer and Javier Bardem. And the marketing campaign for this film has been well kept under wraps, I have to say. The footage that we have seen has teased something that's sort of along the lines of a psychological thriller or a very visceral horror. Something along those lines. Before we really get stuck into the film, I'll have to pre-warn everybody, because I think to really tackle this narrative structure and what the film deals with, I feel like you've really got to go all out with this. So there are spoilers ahead, just to pre-warn anybody who probably doesn't want the film spoiled. So for people who've seen it, feel free to carry on with this review. But if you haven't and want to wait, there are spoilers ahead. So just to get that out of the way, the plotline of Mother. Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem live in a secluded house that is very much in need of renovation. Jennifer Lawrence sort of is assigned the majority of that task, while Bardem is suffering from severe writer's block and is looking to craft together a new piece, and it looks almost devoid of ideas. The ideas come from an unlikely source. It comes from strangers arriving at their house, their lifestyle turned completely upside down by the likes of Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, another couple who they really do tear away at the dynamic of Bardem and Lawrence and their relationship. Pfeiffer is very sassy and incisive. She's questioning Lawrence's maternal instincts and whether they would have a child, while Harris, there's something almost fanatical about him towards Bardem, but we never quite understand the motives as to why. But obviously I won't spoil that aspect for you guys. And it slowly descends into this maddening, hellish cinematic experience, to say the least. To begin with, it's pretty standard, really. The horror tropes are there, strangers invading into this one setting, and you don't quite understand their motives towards our lead protagonists. And then it just builds into this hellish symphony, if you like. Particularly the last 30-40 minutes are just, you'll be watching in almost disbelief, I have to say. I watched it with my friend Liz and we were just looking at each other as if to say, what on earth have we just experienced? Now the performances, Lawrence pretty much bears the weight of the film's narrative structure on her shoulders, and it is an intense role that she's been assigned here. And these characters don't have any particular names or much backstory to them, which I think complements what Aronofsky is trying to achieve here. And it's a very committed performance. When you look at it as a coherent whole, I wondered whether Lawrence would have the range as it was progressing to really get stuck into this role, but she really does with plenty of gusto, and it's just a really wonderfully committed performance from her. Bardem, that obsessive protagonist, we've always had them in these Aronofsky films. It's very much a trait of his back catalogue, with Natalie Portman in Black Swan and Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, and obviously for different motivations, of course, but they've always had this obsessive need to be loved or strive for perfection. And Bardem here is almost deemed like this saviour, godlike figure. And I thought, and the way Aronofsky frames him, with low angle shots from him way up above of the house, in the high echelons of the house, while Lawrence is sort of looking up towards him and almost as if she's nothing. And that's that whole power struggle that he sort of creates, because Lawrence, whether it's Bardem or Pfeiffer, feels like her character is being severely questioned. And Harris and Pfeiffer, they bring plenty of unnerving quality to the film, and it really enhances the ensemble and what Aronofsky is trying to achieve. Now, thematically, the film deals with so much, it's hard to dissect, really. There's such a myriad of ideas that have been thrown in. I think Aronofsky wrote the script in 5 days, I think I read. And within that time frame, you could easily think, you know, these ideas could be really half-baked, but there's such clear intentions, particularly in the last 30-40 minutes. There are religious undercurrents, with this whole idea that maybe Jennifer Lawrence is being interpreted as Mother Nature, and this really forceful, which is almost volcanic eruption of emotion that happens with her. And there's been suggestions that he might be able to have something to do with climate change, maybe, which seems like a stretch, but I think the religious undercurrent, because it's sort of been a trait of Aronofsky's films with Noah, which was very divisive, and The Fountain as well. That's always sort of been something that Aronofsky's been keen to tackle. The way he dealt with Noah, for example, it did cause a stir because he's such a fantastical approach to the material, and this almost feels like his book of revelations that he's sort of seen through Bardem. And I think it has a lot to talk about in terms of fandom and the way we put these artistic people like pop stars, film stars, wherever you know, whatever the profession, on a pedestal, and this idea of fandom, and it becomes so intense and fanatical. Where's the line morally? And I think there's a great metaphor with a heart being flushed down the toilet. It's like we become so consumed by these characters and these beings that it has such a severe effect on the human condition. I think that's what Aronofsky's sort of trying to get at here with this film, whilst intertwining the religious undercurrent that we've sort of grown accustomed to with his back catalogue. Is Mother actually any good? I personally thought it was fantastic. As a coherent whole, it is so refreshing for a studio film. Although I'm looking back, you're thinking, how on earth did this get made through a studio? But it is so committed. It goes all out, literally from the off. It sets off as your pretty standard horror, with great steady pans, what you've come accustomed to, and Lawrence's face framed quite plentiful in close-up, and it sort of captures those little nuances and unnerving facial tics, and then it just grows into this otherworldly, hellish experience that Aronofsky just commits to, and it is one of the most unique cinematic experiences I've had all year. And I think whether you end up loving the film or loathing the film, you'll be talking about it after, and I think that's what cinema should be doing. Whether you love or loathe it, good art, bad art, whichever way you want to interpret, films like this being made, I would rather watch 10 of these over 10 middle-of-the-road, predictable, bland films that are just, you know, mechanical in their storytelling. This is just... It's very outlandish, but it deals with themes in such an audacious... incisive way that you can only applaud it, really. And Aronofsky once again cements himself as just a fascinating filmmaker, and it is littered with great performances, particularly for me as a Michelle Pfeiffer fan. It is great to see her back in such a meaty role, and there are a couple of cameos which I won't spoil that are peppered throughout the film, which just enhance the ensemble and just enhance the film as a cohesive whole. So Mother is a mother of a ride, I can tell you that. That is a wrap up my video review of Mother. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I haven't waffled too much in my first one back. Of course, you could check out Movie Marker at www.moviemarker.co.uk. I'm going to try and be a bit more consistent with these YouTube reviews, so you can subscribe below. We've got the likes of Kingsman, The Golden Circle coming up, Blade Runner 2049, and I am going to London Film Festival again this year, so hopefully I'll do a bit of vlogging over the 4 days that I am there. I'll be seeing the likes of Battle of the Sexes, Call Me By Your Name, and The Shape of Water, just to name a few, and I hope you can look out for those. But for now, I've been Darryl Griffiths, and I hope you take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak again soon. Thank you very much. See you later.